Now you can get scared. It's 1:30. Hi, guys. I'm Jacqueline Aguilera. I'm from Houston, Texas, from the Mayor's Office for Adult Literacy. And as I have told a couple people already, I am your afternoon entertainment. I am going to do the best that I can to continue to evolve your cerebellum and get you over that little hump that you've had with all your nice carbs. So if you would like to first get comfy, you are going to do a little bit of movement. I'm not going to shake you up too much, but you will be doing a couple of things collaboratively. Those of you who are joining me online, thank you so very much. There are actually about 31 people, I believe, that had said they were going to be in this session. So I think a lot of you guys are enjoying this from the comfort of your seat, wherever you are, and that is okay, because like they say, it doesn't matter where you're at as long as you show up. All right, so we've got our faithful few in the room. This information, you guys, LinkedIn, that's the best place to get in touch with me. If you want to find me, get me on LinkedIn, best place. And what we're going to go through today is looking at this plan for success, and we'll talk about that, and I'll share some things that we learned as we were working together through our office and working with our stakeholders to build what became a blueprint for moving the needle in adult literacy. Right. See, am I moving forward? We've got our clicker on, my clicky. Yay! Why are you here? What's in it for me? Well, hopefully some of you guys, thank you so much for filling out the poll. The vast majority, I would say 99.9% went blueprint for what? And that's okay, because that's why you're here. Some of you, one or two, said, I think I've heard of that. And one of you is like, yeah, I know about that little thing in Houston, Texas. So thank you so much for being here. Hopefully you'll get a better understanding about the blueprint and start really strategizing and looking at ways that you can take these ideas home and apply them in your communities and start moving the needle in your own neighborhoods. The first thing that I want you to look at is this particular picture right here. And you have a question. What do you think is the biggest challenge in improving adult literacy? And that picture has something to do with the answer. And now we'll play Jeopardy. Anybody with an answer? Silos. Sorry, ma'am. They don't feel the need to be literate. They don't feel the need to be literate. Yes, ma'am. It takes courage to say that you need help. Absolutely. And these are all definitely challenges. The biggest challenge, and this has to do with the blueprint itself, goes to the first answer that popped up, which is silos of everything in our field. The largest challenge we have is we work in silos. It was mentioned earlier, I was in a presentation earlier with Brooke, and one of the things we talked about is we're at this conference with ourselves. We all are learning, and we know, and we impassion, and we embrace our adult learners. We get it. And then we leave here and we go back home. So I'm hoping today that we start this idea of silo busting. And that's one of the first things that I want you to think when you're looking at this idea of this blueprint as we walk through these strategies, what we did with this particular model, and think silo busting. That's your first step in this adventure. Now, I put a few things around the room. And speaking of silo busting, some of you have some materials and some of you don't. And by the time that you all get through silo busting, you should have the value of adult literacy, about Houston's adult literacy blueprint, and one of these cards. Look around the room, find where the resources are at, and silo bust. Some of you have no resources. Some of you have one or two of these resources. And you guys at home, I will make these available on Whova. It's not available yet, but all these materials will be there. You can also visit the website for Houston's Adult Literacy Blueprint. But what they are looking at is data that we collected and the impact of adult literacy and why it's important to Houston. This particular card is our rebranding of adult literacy, and all that's going to be up on the PowerPoint. All right, how you guys doing silo busting? Did everybody share resources? Wow, look what happens. So now everyone has what? You got a card. You've got a page that says about Houston's literacy blueprint with blueprint goals, and you have the value of adult literacy. Yeehaw! The value of collaboration. What was the first thing that you had to do before you got all your resources? Anybody? And I've got this lovely microphone so other people at home can hear. Thank you, ma'am. How do you identify what resources you had and what resources you needed? Okay, what you had and what you needed. What else happened? You had to know where to look. You had to know what the needs were. Okay, anything else? There's no right or wrong answers here. Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Brooke. You guys, you know, a lot of people think, oh, I've never heard of silo busting before. I don't know what that means. You just illustrated the action of silo busting. You identify, you know, what is the need? What do I have? What do we want? Where is it available? If I don't have it, who does? Who can I reach out to? If I have an abundance of something, can I share it with someone else and they might have something that I need, or they don't have anything at all. And you know, just for the goodness of sharing, you help someone who had nothing have something. Even if it was just one piece of the three, they started out with absolutely nothing. And this is this whole idea about moving forward collaboratively, working together, and looking at addressing the needs. In Houston, the statistic that came out by PIAC, and this was right in the wonderful time of COVID, we were, you know, kind of struggling with the 1 in 5. Everybody familiar with the 1 in 5 Americans, you know, were struggle with literacy skills. In the 4th largest city in the nation, Houston, Texas, we found out our statistic is 1 in 3. It's worse than the nation. In Harris County. Harris County encompasses most of the greater Houston area. So we're talking about Houston. We're talking about Pasadena. We're talking about different cities that are around, large cities. Galveston County is just around the corner, but I mean, it doesn't get any better. Now we're locked up. This is 2020. We're going back in time. So what better thing to do than some research? Now, luckily, we are affiliated with a wonderful partner, a founder of our office, the Houston Barbara Bush Literacy Foundation. They conducted the first research of this kind in 2014, but they looked at literacy in Houston as a whole, and a teeny tiny piece of that was adult literacy. Here we were in 2020. They helped open the office. So we decided to collaborate and really examine and do a drill down on adult literacy itself. What that became is this collaborative report, this whole joining of feedback, of different types of responses and insights that gave to us goals and strategies. If you scan this QR code, you will get access to the blueprint. It's on our website. It will take you to the Mayor's Office for Adult Literacy website, and you'll be able to access the blueprint. There's an executive summary there, and there is also a full version of the blueprint itself in PDF. It comes complete with not only telling the data and the story, but it tells you goals that were important. And then, of course, metrics. How are we going to measure what we intend to do? So essentially, this is a playbook, you guys. It's a playbook on silo busting and dealing with your statistics. We were helped with the great benefit of the Barbara Bush Foundation. We were able to hire a professional consulting agency that helped us do these focus groups, helped us collect the data, analyze the data. Over 100 different stakeholders in the literacy ecosystem participated. Now, what is a literacy ecosystem? It is every entity and everyone who has an impact on our learners' lives. In other words, everybody. Banking institutions, universities, hospitals, banks, everyone that has an impact on our learners' lives. Employers, different agencies, government. We took all this information, we put it together, and we were able to create a collective voice of these guys, the learners, the adult literacy providers, the community organizations, city government representatives, and the business community. The blueprint is a playbook, and it is the voice of all of these people who came together to look at the question, what do we do about 1 in 3 people are struggling with basic literacy skills? One of the challenges that we faced, of course, is understanding what adult literacy is. And that's part of the information that you guys received. And we're going to dive into that momentarily. I wanted to first share with you all the goals. Now, these are not absolute goals, and these goals may change according to your city, because not every city's the same. Not every neighborhood's the same. In Houston, there's a freeway called Interstate 45. Literally on the east side of 45 is citizenship, naturalization, ESL, ESOL. Those are your major service demands. You go under the freeway, and literally on the west side is what I call GED country. Very minimal ESL demand. High demand for low literacy, ABE, GED, and then, of course, those workforce skills. So a freeway can define what your goals will become. I say this because a lot of people, and we look at this almost like you look up WebMD, right? Ouch, I have a pain. Let me go find out on WebMD what this might be, okay? Because we all know WebMD is the one and only information source for your aches and pains, right? Sure. So again, this is not the end-all cure-all, but it's a model. In this model for Houston, the first thing that came up was awareness and action. We spoke about that earlier. People need to know about us. People who can make decisions that impact our learners' lives, make decisions that impact our programs, our ability to keep our doors open, our ability to expand, to become innovative, to create pilot projects, to do research, to partner up and train. Well, if no one knows about us, just like this room, when you looked and went, okay, number one, where are the resources? Where are they at? You have to find them. They have to find you. The second was a comprehensive system, something that connects us all. The mayor's office serves as a hub for the city of Houston, but we still are working on that piece of a collective point of sharing data, sharing information, and most importantly, and what I have really learned lately, is meaningful data outside of the adult education field. I repeat, meaningful data outside of the adult education field. Do not go through my pain. I am sharing this with you now because, again, we know it makes sense. We know. But outside of our field, many people have no clue. They have a lot of assumptions about what we do. So we need to make sure that we are creating a picture, a story that includes a data collection that can represent and help people understand outside of our field. The third thing, multi-generational learning. Again, looking at how we connect systems. We get it. If you don't help the adults and you only help the children go home. And if the home is not able to sustain what we're doing for our children, then it makes it a lot harder. Do children still succeed? Yes, we know that. We have the success stories. But does it have to be that hard? Should it be that hard? I mean, these are just basic ethical questions. So we invest in our adults to connect the dots so that we can impact not only literacy today, but literacy rates, performance rates, which all leads to the mighty green dollar, the economic health of the cities and the neighborhoods that everyone is living in. Connecting and making sure that we have sustainable programs and sustainable wraparound services to support families and elderly people and those who are trying to just make ends meet, but maybe they're aged out of a certain system, but they still need to survive. We need to make sure that we are connecting on a broad level scope. Of course, reaching out into our communities, making sure that if you have potential partners, you have a different multi-service center that has a senior program. Have you ever bothered to drop into the senior program? Have you ever let them know that you're down the street and in the neighborhood? I mean, those guys are looking for stuff to do. And one piece of feedback that was shared with me at one time, they had a 55 plus person respond why they wanted to be in a digital literacy class. And the main reason was so he could watch old versions of Gunsmoke because he loves Gunsmoke. And he wants to be able to learn about YouTube and getting on YouTube, but getting on YouTube safely and not getting caught up in you know, those little pop-up ads and what do you do? How do I protect my identity? All the guy wanted to do was watch Gunsmoke. But that's a quality of life for him. So you need to go out and again, find out your community, find out their needs and connect. Don't forget those over 55s. And there are a lot of opportunities to work with ARP, funding opportunities, partnership opportunities. Don't forget the silver rainbow. All right. The one that's most obvious is 4, workforce goals, not so surprising. Opportunities for employment. Goal 5, digital resources and skills, all things digital literacy, how to do it, training to do it, and please give me some resources to do it, period, and make them affordable. Or can I have a partner who might be able to give me a grant or donate in-kind PCs? We've had several companies, Marathon Oil, one of them. They changed out all of their computers. Their computers were only 2 years old, but they had the leisure to do that. Guess what? There was a partnership opportunity, and thanks to one of the advisory board members that's part of the mayor's advisory board, they said, hey, Marathon Oil is about to ship out all these computers and they want to know where they can donate them. I'm like, We have about 45 providers in our city that would sure like them. So we were able to do an event called Drive Up for Literacy, the technology edition. And we had providers drive up where we were. We had these package Marathon Oil volunteers helped handing them out, photo opportunity. And then they went on, and these gently used PCs went to help people help their lives. And a lot of times, again, our organizations, we don't have big buckets of money to buy these things. So those partnerships become very important. And of course, common data system, we get back to that point, something that we can tell a collective story. 7, sustainable resources. We're always back to the money. It's all about the money. We need sustainable resources. We need different partners in order to continue the work that we do. Now, contextualized within all of this, and I have to give a confession. All of you out there, get ready. This is being recorded, so this confession will be on record. In our excitement to be doing this fabulous research project, and we're working with Deloitte, and we're working with all these people from the community, and we are supported by the Barbara Bush Houston Literacy Foundation at a critical moment. Someone asked, where is the cohort of learners that we're going to be getting input from? And here we were, all of us in our field positions going, wow. This is an awareness point in learner-centered models. Don't forget your learners. A lot of times we get into that thing about, well, you know, we have this experience, we have this knowledge, we're excited, we want to do this thing, but is it what they really need? And is it what they really want? And is it in the way they want it? Because in the end, we're not here to serve ourselves. We're here to serve our learners. And that was such a crucial point because we were so busy trying to invent the cure that we forgot the patient. And you just can't do a successful model that way. So at that point, we had to whoa and pull it back a little bit. And we didn't just ask random questions of groups of learners. We actually developed cohorts of learners to actually tell their stories. One of the best stories in the blueprint that I really love is from an individual, as a gentleman who was in language classes. And he said, I weld in my country. I'm a welder. You don't need to teach me how to weld. I know. All I need is enough of the language so I can do what I already know how to do. And that's a powerful statement, powerful statement. So here it is. It looks like a little Ferris wheel. This is the literacy ecosystem. This is the design that came out of all the people that we had involved, all these individual entities that the learners also confirmed had some type of touch point in their lives. So here in this group, we're going to lasso them. You guys are in Texas. We have to do some, stuff. This group, the education group, early childhood providers, K through 12 systems, post-secondary school, the business community, not just the employers, but how many of you guys have a relationship with chambers of commerces in your communities? Exactly. Chambers of commerce are some of the most powerful voices, collectives of employers in your neighborhoods. We give you guys a lot of statistics, a lot of big things come out of government studies. You get this big long list. These are the hot jobs for your area. Oh, great, cool. And you look around and you go, well, most of the people in my area are wanting jobs to be, sheet rockers. And you're telling me that we're supposed to be training them all to be dock workers. We don't even have water in 100-mile radius. But you're telling me that a hot job is a dock worker. Okay. It has to make sense in your neighborhoods. Who knows what makes sense in your neighborhoods? Your chambers of commerce, the businesses themselves that they work with every day, their membership. And they are looking for a talent pool. And I am big on all adult education people embracing the fact, embrace this title. You are talent pool developers. You develop talent. And that gives value to people outside of this room about what you already know about yourselves. Your talent pool developers. The next thing is looking at community and society, the community organizations, health and social services, government, and then us, adult literacy providers. And don't forget your faith-based organizations. One of the biggest touch points for many, many people that we serve is some type of faith-based hub. It could be a mosque, it could be a church, it could be a random place in a shopping strip. It's something, it's a collective, it's where people collect and they go and there's a trust factor there. A trustworthy community amplifier. Some place that the people, no matter what's going on, they will go there and they will trust that person. Those are some of your anchor institutions. Those are some of your anchor partners to ensure and build relationships with the community. This was one of the biggest pieces that for learners that came out is community. Why don't I feel comfortable coming to your center? Because I don't feel comfortable with you. I don't see connection. I don't see or feel connectivity. We had a lot of students. I was at a adult education center that was founded by a pastor in a church in one of the most impoverished, low level graduation rates, et cetera, you name it. It's called Third Ward, Houston. And we had a lot of people, not only from Third Ward, but from other areas, come over to the school where I was at. And we asked, you know, you were going to XYZ. Why did you come here? They said, because I just felt like one person in a whole room. Because they pushed us to make good enough scores in at least 12 weeks. And I wasn't ready to do that. That's too much pressure for me. Because I don't feel welcome. That's probably one of the biggest things that we have an opportunity to present to our learners is community, because it takes a heck of a lot for a person to admit they need your help and just to reach out to you, just to go through your door, and then to not be met with a feeling of support. And more than likely, if that person doesn't find an alternative, like a lot of people found us, we just lose them. And we know where that usually leads. So again, things that we do to impact those literacy rates, starting even with the culture of our own organizations. Now, because the emphasis, and you've heard this all 3 days and you hear it all the time, we're talking about workforce and employment, career pathways, pipelines to employment, apprenticeships. So goal four is a big, big deal. Goal 4, workforce skills and opportunities. There are a number of strategies there, but these are 2 of them, and take a look at them. Monique, can you re-show the ecosystem slide? Sure can, not a problem. I'm going to go back for a minute, you guys. As soon as it lets me go back. Okay, Monique, you'll see it again, I promise. Take a look at these strategies. Strategy 2, encourage and support who? Employers. To implement and expand inclusive employer-based literacy programs. Any old program, tailored, customized to their employees And because you guys are talent pool developers, tailored to their future talent. That was mentioned earlier. Gone are the days when you can pre-package willy-nilly any old curriculum and say, we have the answer for you. You out there, we have it right here. Because a lot of these guys, when I was doing the English at Work program in Houston, a lot of them, when I reached out and contacted them, they said, oh, we've tried ESL before. It was okay. We really didn't see any impact. And I said, okay, what did they use? Well, they brought in their books and stuff. I said, well, let me tell you right now, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a customized. I want to know what you need and how your employees are going to benefit to move up in your company. I want to know what our learners need to learn in order to be considered candidates by your systems and your HR for real employment. I need to know what you need. So this becomes a very big deal. Customization, you guys. If you are shy, you can no longer be shy in adult education. You have to reach out. And I'm going to tell you something that is so old school, but it works because it's real. Pick up the phone. Folks get hundreds of emails every day. My partner, my grandkids, when they see my screen on my phone, they go, your phone's bleeding. How can you have that many not read emails? Now, when do I have time to read all the? I'll get to them. They're very concerned about my email health. But the point being, that phone's going to get you connected faster than anything. And the people that you want to reach out to are usually involved with training. HR people. Get very friendly with HR people. Reach out to organizations, find out who all is involved in the HR organization, because those folks are in charge of training and they get training dollars. Oh, wait a minute, right? Dollars are a challenge for community-based organizations and adult education programs, right? Hello. If you're customizing something, it's an opportunity. Strategy 4, partner with employers to connect adult learners with apprenticeships, entrepreneurship opportunities. Remember, this information came out in 2020. What year are we in now? Thank you. I don't know, by the end of 3 days and now you might be going, I don't know. I just show up to the airport in 3 hours. It's 2025, 5 years. In 5 years, what have we seen? This explosion of emphasis on workforce partnerships, apprenticeships, and building pipelines. Our guys were telling us this 5 years ago, and everything is moving forward. All right. Come on, my friend.
Click on your slide deck anywhere.
All right. Maybe it'll hook up. Clicking. Thank you. One of the things that you guys said, and you guys that came in late, you missed the initial exercise. We were practicing silo busting. One of the things that was mentioned was when we were looking for our resources, we needed to know, well, what we were looking for, where it was at, and then who had it. So the question becomes, if you're starting to look at, all right, what's this blueprint have to do with my everyday, dealings? What can I learn from this? Well, one of the first things when you're looking at, okay, I've got my learners, I've got an ecosystem, I'm assessing this idea for what they need, what they want. The next thing you need to figure out is, who do you know? And what do you need to know and why? Now, one of the things that I've enjoyed with CoWave, I was one of the first cohort with the SAFE program, the Advocate Training Fellowship. And I got pushed out of my comfort zone. And so one of the people that I was able to develop a relationship with is U.S. Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia. She is from Houston, Texas. And most of her stuff that she is concerned about is here: education, economy, community safety, and the factor for her is what does the community, what is the value for the community, and especially through partnerships. Her question was always, what can I do for you? How can I help you in what you're trying to achieve? And the question became, who do I know that I can help you with? One of the things that I was able to do with her is we looked at financial literacy and financial education, and a lot of the information on finances was not available in languages for people to understand. So you have people signing contracts that they have no idea what they're doing. All they know is someone pushed this in front of them and said, if you want X, you need to sign this. And they had no idea. And now they've got debt up to here that they didn't even know what they were getting into, or they got a house that they couldn't afford, or they got a house that now they're losing, all kinds of things. So this was something that we did together with financial literacy. So looking at who you know, wow, that was fast. Looking at who you know and who you can partner with, I was looking at workforce. Some of the people that I work with for Houston are hotel and restaurants. So I reached out to the Hotel and Lodging Association in Houston, and I talked to their president, and I said, hey, if I share a survey with you guys, will you tell me what your membership, what the industry is looking for? She said, sure. So we did a little survey. And this is the results, one part of that survey. I asked, what skills training best prepares the developing or current talent pool for the hotel industry? And some very interesting comments came out. Of course, things that you would expect, customer service, problem solving. It gets into, culinary service, the engineering trades. But then, they got into some of the comments about an understanding of the hotel business, that it's not just housekeeping. It's not just washing dishes and waiting tables. The back end of the house, accounting, HR, training, events planning, recruiting, going out and getting bids for conferences, front end management, higher level pathway skills within the hotel industry itself. That was one thing that they wish people were pre-skilled about coming into. So this gave us insight. This gives insight into what they want. So keeping that in mind, if we have this learner right here, here's our learner. She needs GED and she needs training. She has a child, so she's going to need some daycare. And we have an employer that needs talent. And we have our ecosystem here. So let's take a look and just think about this for a minute. You have a learner that needs a GED, she needs childcare, and there's an employer. You're the adult education provider. So I'm going to give you guys, take a couple of minutes, turn around to somebody and talk about, brainstorm this question about who do you know and who do you need to know and why to help this learner in this situation. And you got 2 minutes. Find someone. Break your silos. And you guys at home, I'm going to actually go back now to the big wheel. And that's for you, Miss Monica. And this is all available in the blueprint itself. You guys at home, pop this out. My pleasure, Monica. So let me throw in a few more cards in the deck. Of course, your learner has limited time due to the childcare. She has financial constraints. She has a lack of adult literacy program awareness. Where are the resources? And transportation access is also an issue. Continue discussing. Time is rounding up. My pleasure, Monica. Thank you for being here. All righty. Time is wrapping up. Ms. Brooke has our microphone. We actually have 5 pairs of people, so we will have 5 share outs. Yay! I told you guys were going to wake up in here. All right, so choose between the 2 of you who is going to share what your ideas are for dealing with our situation with our learner and the challenges that she is having.
Okay, so we talked about leader is going to be there.
Yeah.
What what the employer needs. And so could this particular student be a good match, but then does she know what she needs in order to be a good match? And does she see herself as the person who is capable of this? Because if she doesn't see herself as this, employee of this big company or whatever, if that feels unattainable, well, then she's never going to do this.
Good job. Great. There are no right or wrong answers here, guys. So don't start going, oh my gosh.
So something you said was, some people should assume that we're the adult educators in some way. We should, either childcare folks or programs that provide childcare, or services. So, yeah. Sorry, the one here, we are supporting the adult aspect of it, so we would say we would either need to know childcare development entities, know other programs that we have childcare included, or house centers and social services to get either a stipend or something of that nature. We mentioned that we need also maybe IDT as a part of this plan, but we need to know, her set needs and interests in those types of things to be able to best prepare it or.
Very good. Thank you. Next group.
From the, so I was telling her and indicator, so I would just get them with their data first and testing, and after that, they would see a navigator who has access to all these resources. We have programs that we got going on in sports childcare, and everything's on this sliding pay scale for the things zero income, the pay zero. So we also have transportation. We have a discount on the GoD bus pass. And then so I was thinking basically we have 2 navigators, one that kind of puts it on and speakers that are starting to use that. then, another one. So we have lots of things that are involved with our resources because, you know, there are so many barriers that we have. So we're kind of ready for it. And we're always looking for new ways to.
Fantastic, thank you. Last but not least.
I'm in a program in Arizona, in Phoenix. We also have autism. We are a very small volunteer. Just be volunteers, we don't have volunteers anymore. We are trying to do some. And, what we have a little grant from the DES, but we always help people like to pay the GE, childcare, bus, gas, when they are receiving stuff.
Okay,
In particular, in the shelter person, we have a law. I didn't vote, but we have a law that we cannot provide documentation for those that are in lawful resident in the United States
yes,
since 2006. So it is very challenging to help the people actually cannot help that documentation. So the workforce in Arizona has a different structure than other states. We adopt education Title II, we depend from the Department of Education from the state. We all depend from, I think, the Department of Education. So I think in other states, you are together, I don't know exactly how this is planned to. So it is very challenging to work. We finally last week finished the draft, all the schools, all the adult education providers to do a MOU to sign with workforce, but it has been very challenging.
Yeah.
To work then.
time consuming.
Non-profit organizations as we are, and then sometimes we receive more help from that.
Very good. Referrals. Again, that ecosystem in Houston, we have a few of the providers who have partnered with their colleges that have childcare components, and they are able to help provide childcare. And again, we're dealing with children, you guys, and when it comes to children, there's a whole other book of rules on protection. And so again, being able to partner with a higher ed entity who has child development as part of their graduate school, as part of their programming. At the University of Houston, they have a whole child care component, a whole child care school that's on the campus. And so we have a couple of providers who have partnered so that they're able to have some of those individuals come in at certain times to help individuals who have those children so that we can make sure they're in safe areas, they're getting appropriate types of activities for their age groups. And then, of course, at the same time, their parents, their guardians are learning and getting what they need. One of the fun things you get to do with something like that as well is family literacy. Do those parent-child activities. A lot of times those will get you some nice grant funding. If you look at the after-school or out-of-school grants, if you find a way to connect your parents with their children and do a family literacy activity at least once a week or do a series, there's grant funding that you can access for that too. So just some little tidbits here and there. With community-based organizations, you guys have hit, on all the target points there. I mean, offering family-friendly literacy programs, accommodating parents and children, partnering with local employers to align your training programs, connecting with wraparound services like housing assistance, healthcare, financial planning, to alleviate the stressors in her life. A couple of you guys talked about partnering with transportation. In Houston, the Metro, the Department for Transportation there in Houston allows us to give a letter of referral to our learners, and they can get the student rate, just like any other student at any other school, for their cost to either the train or the bus, whichever one they want to use, for the time that they are enrolled in the class. So that means, you know, if you're running your program on a rotation, well, at the end of whatever that rotation is, you got to submit another letter. If you're on a semester system, they're going to roll out, you know, at the end of the spring, you send another letter. Same thing, summer, fall, they have to be actively enrolled. Now, I did tell my learners this when I was, you guys, boots on the ground. If you stop coming to class, I will need to inform Metro that you are no longer in class. And your little pass for your discounted rate will no longer be honored. And that's a reality, but it's also teaching responsibility. And we really want to know people are serious. Sometimes people, they're serious, life happens, things happen. It's a case-by-case basis. We have situations where learners, not of their own will, have to drop out or just couldn't come back. And that's case by case. But for the most part, I had some real characters in my classroom. So there we go. Outcomes, you guys, anything that you do, and this is something we learned from the blueprint. We have goals, we have metrics, the desired outcomes. If you're looking at implementing a blueprint model, make sure that you're looking at your outcomes. What do you want to do with all this? One of the things that has become real apparent, so here, there you go. One of the things that's become real apparent for us is, again, that reminder that if you really don't understand adult ed, you can have beautiful data. But for someone that really doesn't get it, they might as well be looking at a comic book. I mean, why is this important? Why is it relevant? I don't get it. And this is part of learning your ecosystem. This is why it's so important to reach out to people to find out what it is they are looking for. Because you can't tell your story and have it make an impact if the story's not told to the right audience. So you have to customize. That's one of the biggest things in this blueprint is customizing and finding ways to make it make sense to those that you're seeking support from. So here you guys, you made some great suggestions. You're going things that you mentioned. It's going to open up some access for her. You're going to build her confidence. She's going to get some credentials. The baby benefits from childcare, enhanced learning environment. Why? Because the more that mother learns, the more that child's going to be supported, the more that child's going to learn. And that's one of your biggest selling points when people are looking at, but shouldn't we take care of the children first? Yes, but remember the children what? They go home. They go home. Improved economic stability, big piece for our children at home. I had a young middle school student did a report on the impact of adult literacy on children her age. She just got this and she wanted to do it. And what she found out was that the math and reading rates of children in economically unstable homes were lower than those who were stable. And not necessarily because it was money, it was because of the stress. You have children who are taken to washaterias because mom has to go there at midnight when she's out of her shift to go wash the clothes for the family. She can't leave her children at home alone. So she takes them to the washateria with her. And they're sitting in that washateria with her and they're trying to do their homework or they're just falling asleep so that when they finally get to go home, they'll at least have had some sleep where they're going to try and go to sleep again, where they're going to get up at probably 5 or 6 in the morning because mom has to catch the bus. These are the realities for our people. And that story, that understanding, those partnerships have to support the realities of the people that we serve. So the benefits to the quality of life become one of your selling points. And the better quality of life individuals have, The more they grow, the stronger they grow, the more economically stable they grow, and the better consumers they become. And ask our cities that are having trouble with budgets, and they will tell you, yes, we want more consumers, please. All right, the goals. We can look a little more at the goals that are involved in what you guys did. You guys fostered a diverse network of adult literacy providers and strategic partners. Congratulations. You just did something in the blueprint. You also talked about partnering with employers to connect adult learners with employers, apprenticeships, entrepreneur opportunities. Congratulations. You just accomplished 4. It's a playbook, you guys. It's a playbook, but it's also a research-based playbook. So when you are talking to your funders, your board, when you're talking to decision makers and leaders, when you are trying to pitch for your classrooms, you have something that is research-based to back you up. If you're being asked, well, you know, why is it you want to get us involved with all these employers? Well, you know, there are benefits and there's research that shows that benefits according to the blueprint in goal 4, goal 2, strategy. I mean, here it is. This is why. Number 2, you can show that what you're doing is research-based. Everything that you currently do, you need to look at that blueprint and go, check, 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 check. Because it strengthens your class, your program, your organization. It strengthens what you are doing now. Now, the next thing that it does is strengthens who you need. Because it clarifies, well, I've already got a strong employer relationship. It's not that you stop. Yay, we have employers, buy employers. No, but what are your opportunities? So you got to look around and determine, okay, which ones do I need now? You guys did that with the pamphlets when we started. What do I have? Man, I got this big giant stack of this. Oh, who doesn't have this? Who can I partner with to share this? We've had a number of organizations in Houston's close when all these cuts came down. All those learners are where one organization partnered with a fellow organization and said, hey, we can't afford to keep our adult education program open anymore, but we still have this classroom space and it'll be empty. If you will use us as a satellite partner, you provide your teacher, we'll provide the classroom, we'll help recruit so we can keep our students in, but we'll partner on the outcomes. We'll partner on this. We'll give you in-kind support. You pay your teachers. We won't charge you for the room, but it'll help us keep our adult ed program open. Will you do it? And they did. And that is the Association for the Advancement of Mexican Americans, AMA, and Harris County Department of Education. They partnered. Their adult education program was closed, director by, teachers by, empty, and learners empty. And that's what they did to stop that process. So look at your partners, look at the people that you need. The ecosystem. More important than the goals and the metrics and the strategies, I think this right here, the reminder that we're here for our learners, but we also need to know how we can serve them best. Assess who you know, what you have, and then look at what you need and what you want according to these guys. You've heard it several times during this conference. Find out what they need, and you be that for them. Build your ecosystem. And everybody's ecosystem is going to be different. Now, at this point in the game, let me move this around again. Yes, I've been keeping up. That was when Monique couldn't hear and she's having fun and she made sure you had a mic. Let me see if there's anything else. And she can hear you guys now. Thank you. We're good. All right. So this is the time to think. Are you doing this now? Can you do it better? If you're not doing it now, can you do it in the future? And these goals, like I said, it's a checklist. Some of you guys are doing this already. You might be even doing it better. Please share information with us. We're still dealing with our 1 in 3. We're still trying to make it work. And I really appreciated the message this morning, because sometimes when you're still looking at 1 in 3, it can feel like a big fail, but it's still a learning process. And we are in the field of education, and we know that we are not only educators, we are learners. And that's part of our process as well. And now I'm going to take a peek. Let's see what we got here. We're much better. Ah, smiling. Thank you, Monique. All right, so that's your reflection, you guys. This is the learner-centered model and kind of all the pieces put together. We have a blueprint, that's a playbook, your ecosystem, your goals, and you got people like me who serve in an office that's a hub for providers, not only for the Houston area. I am a provider liaison for everyone in this field. If you need to reach out to me, if you have some ideas, some questions, if you want to know more about, you know, how you come up with these types of statistics, or looking at these goals, how you can apply information like the value of literacy. And more importantly, I want you to take, you know, there's a lot of branding going on here. First, remember that you are a talent pool developer. You're not just a teacher. Please don't let anyone tell you that. Oh, you're just a teacher. You are not. You are a talent pool developer. You help develop the future. What kind of future? Well, that's up to the kind of support and funding we get from you, Mr. and Miss XYZ. Number 2, adult literacy. It's more than reading. Adult literacy, it's more than reading. I have this in my background when I'm in Zoom meetings and team meetings. That's my background. And inevitably, at least one, at the most I've had is like 3 people will private DM me and go, where do I get one of those? And tell me more about it. And I'm telling you guys right now, this is an open resource for you. This does not belong to the city of Houston. It does not belong to privately to the blueprint. We ask that please say, hey, this came from Houston's adult literacy blueprint, but use it. It's pretty on paper, but you know, that's about $1.75, and then it goes in the trash. I'm just using the last of these. So use it. It opens doors, it gets people to think. When you're reaching out to your legislators, when you're reaching out to funders, when you are talking with individuals, because they don't get what they do, well, we do. Oh, how nice you teach people to read. Well, that's part of what we do, but it's not just about reading. Really? Yeah. It's all this. And a whole lot more. So, I hope I woke you up. Checking on Monique. Monique looks good. We have a few minutes. Is there any comments or questions? I am all yours. And if someone doesn't mind, before we go, please take a picture of me up here, because I never get them. And I'm a social media person. That's why I gave you my LinkedIn. Any questions, comments? Where's your brain at right now? What are you thinking? Yes, ma'am. Oh, microphone. Thank you, Brooke.
I was just wondering, when you were in the classroom to advise them, like how they're feeling there. I'm interested to know a little bit.
Sure. Well, as they say, it was an interesting story. way back when probably most of you weren't even born and maybe not even your parents were born. I was an English major with a sociology minor. And I was a junior at the University of Houston downtown. And I was having a good time. And I wanted to have an even better time. So I was looking for extra income. And there's a department at the University of Houston downtown called Student Support Services. And a friend of mine said, hey, they're looking for English tutors. I went, oh, I can do that between classes. I can have extra money and I can go out and have more fun. Okay, that sounds great. So I get this tutor job. That was my introduction to people who were immigrants and refugees, first generation college students like myself, but not with the same advantages and privileges that I had. My mother's a single mother. She was lucky because she had her parents. My grandparents pitched hit for her. They made sure that we were taken care of. We never went without. We never knew we were of a certain income because we never knew the difference. I learned just how lucky I was. And I started giving back. I started developing a passion for people who had this need. I went through reading tutorials, different types of college success classes. I ended up teaching at the University of Houston downtown with student success courses, first generation college courses, did reading classes, got an offer to do the same thing at the University of Houston Central Campus and worked with what was called TRIO programs. Again, first gen, quote unquote, high risk students. One of the best stories I have about testing. There was a cohort of Mexican American students who did not make scores high enough on the SAT to get admitted into the University of Houston. The professor of the University of the Mexican Americans program said, let's do a cohort of these students that did not make high enough SATs. Let's give them probationary 1 semester and see what happens. They asked me to be involved and help with that project. I worked with those students. I did all the coaching. I did the success classes and everything. At the end of that semester, our cohort outperformed the incoming freshmen by almost 80%. And all those students were admitted into the University of Houston because of it. That changed all the game for me. I became the underdog hero. And I got involved with Houston Community College, adult education. I really learned about heroism then and what to do and people who really needed and learned about servant leadership. Started out as a tutor, teacher, adjunct. I helped develop distance learning policies when that was first evolving at HCC. Then I got involved with something called the Houston Read Commission, which is a 40-year history of Houston investing in adult education. I wasn't there the whole 40 years. I know I may look like I was, but I wasn't the whole time. But what I learned there pushed me even further. I became a trainer. I became a professional development consultant. I developed programming. I got involved in every single literacy you see on here. I founded what in Houston is called the Houston Money Week. It's a financial education outreach program. It's 15 years old now, going strong. All of that in a movement in 2018 to totally rebrand and look at this idea of this model. At the time, Philadelphia had a mayor's office of adult literacy, and there were several others around the country. They took that model and brought it back. And our former mayor and our former director of the Houston Public Library System said, let's do this here. My former director, Federico Salas-Cisnardi, was the first director for the office. And I got in touch with him and I said, hey, I've been everything in this field. And now we have this office. I've touched hundreds of lives. I want to be able to make a difference in thousands of lives. And he pretty much said, as soon as the position opens, you're hired. I said, okay. And that's how I ended up there. I have had the unique and wonderful honor to serve our learners for almost 80% of my life. And I haven't regretted one moment. And it's my privilege and my honor to be here with you to share something of what I've learned, just like what was done for me, so that you guys can be the next ones and take us where we're going to go. So that answers your question. You're welcome. All right, guys, checking on anyone else here. And I think that's it. The card, yes, Monique, go. I'm gonna make these resources available, you guys. It's not on Whova yet. But you should, it'll be on there, but hit me up on LinkedIn. Go to my LinkedIn and just say, hey, Jackie, remember you're supposed to send this stuff? And I will send it to you, but I need reminders, especially these days. Thank you. We're already over. I'm honored that you're just still sticking around this. I'm like, gee. So yeah, and anything, you guys, I'm serious. Anything you need, please reach out to me. Have safe travels. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you. Thank you guys out there.